This Kurz and Ellison chromolithograph, Assault on Fort Sanders, depicts the battle on November 29, 1863, where Union troops led by General Burnside clashed with Confederate forces under General Longstreet. 1882. How photographer Gardner caught Lincoln's soul in his lens, and the whole nation's sorrow along with it, which, I must admit, was a considerable feat for a single photograph. Alright, so check it. This is the last picture of Lincoln before he died. February 5th, 1865, on a Sunday. See that crack? They used glass plates back then for photos. And this one got busted. Couldn't take another one cause you had to sit there like a statue for ages. Who's got time for that? They tossed it in the garbage. But somehow, we still got it. Go figure. Peep this famous shot from the main Eastern battlefront. This is from the Battle of Antietam. Went down September-October 1862. That's President Lincoln in the middle. And check it out on his right, you got Major General John C. McClernand, and on the left, that's the OG spy master Allan Pinkerton. Straight up legendary detective. Fun fact, Pinkerton was the guy who started what basically became the FBI. Pretty dope, right? Check this out, that's Pinkerton posted up on his horse at Antietam back in '62. Like, deadass. This is a real snapshot from when shit was going down at Antietam. That's the same Pinkerton who was basically running the whole spy game during the Civil War. Mad legendary. Real talk. This was some serious Civil War stuff going down at Antietam. You got the president himself out there with these heavy hitters, McClernand doing his general thing, and Pinkerton, who is basically like the 1800s version of James Bond. Listen up, this was the first major throwdown, and straight up the bloodiest single-day battle in the whole Civil War. Jefferson Davis. Behold this historic portrait, showcasing a distinguished Southern leader dressed to the nines. Captured through the lens of the 1860s, he was none other than the President of the Confederate States of America. It's a sight to behold, the capture of Fort Fisher. There's Union General Terry's boys giving them Confederates what for on January 15, 1865. Now, that was some spectacular fighting. Those Kurz and Ellison folks sure knew how to capture drama of it all, even if they might have taken some ties, as publishers are wont to do. It's the kind of picture that makes you feel like you're right there in the thick of it. Though I reckon the real thing was a sight more terrifying than any print could show. Those sailors and soldiers were fighting their way into history that day, sure as shooting. These fellas were the big shots running the show at the 6th Army Corps headquarters back in the winter of '64. Interesting bunch of characters, if I do say so myself. These were the fellows keeping our boys organized and moving forward. Soldiers in camp. These guys were probably taking a breather between battles. No air conditioning, no cell phones, no Netflix, just a bunch of soldiers making do with what they had in the field. Man, imagine being one of these guys. Living that Civil War soldier life makes you appreciate how good we've got it today. Really puts our modern amenities in perspective, you know. This here photograph shows some boys from Company B of the 9th Mississippi Infantry Regiment. You've got their cook, a fella by the name of Kinloch Faulkner. Bet he kept those soldiers well fed. Then there's Thomas C. Faulkner from Holly Springs, and you can see him holding up a newspaper there. These were the unsung heroes of the war, I tell ya. Not the kind that got their names in fancy history books, but the ones who built the bridges that got our armies where they needed to go. Without these hardy engineers, our boys in blue would have been stuck in the mud literally. Check out these random Union soldiers they's decked out in full gear. We don't know who these guys was, just same of thousands of soldiers who fought for the North. But muskets in their holding, that was their go-to weapon, probably a Springfield. You can tell this was probably taken in one of those Civil War photo studios where soldiers would go to get their pictures taken before heading off to fight. Kind of like their version of an Instagram post, but way more serious. Here, you've got two old-timers who used to be on opposite sides of the Civil War: Private James Herman Egan, who fought for the Union, and Corporal James Jones Hall from the Confederacy, coming together and shaking hands to bury the hatchet. Many more stories lie ahead. Subscribe so you don't miss the most important one.